says it's going live, but I think we got it. Yep. Okay. Cool. So it looks like it's working. All right. Well, welcome to be going over, as the title said, this over that. I think that was like a line or something. It still might be, I'm not sure. But basically, healthy food alternatives that you can be having in your house to accomplish losing weight over gaining weight. If you're trying to gain weight, the three easiest answers: oatmeal, white rice, white potatoes. That's probably going to be your bread and butter. I mean, bread works too, so that's a good option. But if you're trying to add calories or add weight on, there's lots and lots of options. So I'm not really going to focus more on that because that's not something people usually struggle with. It's usually the opposite. So I grabbed a few items that I have on hand around the house. I'll talk about a few more other options that I quite often use for meal prep or just to have day to day on hand. But before we do that, let me go through a few information. Let's see. The shoulder workout video I think is going to work. So I hope to have that uploaded this afternoon so you all can see kind of what the at-home workout is going to look like. I have some things that I didn't like so much, but I think it's try and improve over and over again on the upcoming videos. So that should be coming out this afternoon. And then within the next week, I should be able to get the fish room tour video uploaded. That one I will be filming today, editing starting tomorrow. And then by the end of the first week here, I should be able to upload August's fish room tour. Not a crazy big number of changes, but there are some, and you will finally get to see winter. Before we get to all the food talk, quick look. If you can even see it, I'm not getting the normal sunlight I would usually get, but hopefully you can see that pretty well. I changed the whole thing up. I just wasn't happy with the rock layout, and I thought this will work better for the future design plan I have for this and other tanks. You can probably see I finally got the Wabikusa fixed. Full waffle is growing like gangbusters. I already have a little side plant, but then my dragon's tongue are there, but looking kind of feeble. So we'll see how that. It's pretty exciting that the whole water meets earth in kind of a unique way that you don't always see. So anyway, that bling because you can follow back later on if that's maybe cutting in and out. Anyway, so let's just dive right into it. So the first one I have is this delightful bread. Now it's a little bit lighter, not as dense, but 45 calories per piece of bread and 3 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein. That's pretty good. And it's a little more expensive, I'm not going to lie, but it's a lot healthier for you. And if you're like me and you sometimes get a hankering for 1 or 6 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, that is a much healthier option to go with. Wise, but the macro breakdown on this bread, I can't remember, just like plain white bread. So that's a good option. And to lead into that, powdered peanut butter. If you saw the thumbnail, which I actually finished before the video was uploaded, yay me, this is a very great alternative to regular peanut butter because this is 70 calories per 2 tablespoons, where it's like 160 or something for regular peanut butter. Now, there's nothing wrong with regular peanut butter, and if you're trying to gain weight, you may want to consider just going with regular peanut butter, because you can add a lot of calories very easily. It does have a lot of fats in it, but otherwise there is some fiber and some protein, so it's not terrible. But you can run away with it very quickly. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is not nearly as much as most people think, and then when they see it, they're like, wow, that's not even enough for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yeah, so that's why I like this. I can mix it with almond milk to make it, even less calories when it's all said and done. 5 carbs, 3 fiber. So most of the carbs are in fiber, and then 8 grams of protein. So this is a nice healthy alternative if you don't want to do protein powder, but it also works great for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or fluffernutters. I like, it is very nutty. It has a very peanut butter nutty flavor to it if you don't add any sweeteners or anything. So I either like to pair it with some protein powder, or I will add like a little bit of like those flavored syrup things. You can get them all kinds of different places. I pick them up at like TJ Maxx and things like that. But just to add a little bit of sweetness to it, because it can just be very nutty, kind of earthy almost. So, but good option. You can mix it in with a lot of things. Goes great with peanut butter, and a great way to add protein into like a smoothie or even a milkshake as well. So, these are a good healthy alternative. Anyway, moving on, as I just talked about, protein powder. I have like 5 different kinds in my house almost at all times, because I like the variety. It mixes well. You can make protein icing, or what some people call protein sludge. It's just a lot of protein powder with some milk, and you can put it on donuts or cakes, or it basically becomes an icing. You can mix it in with yogurt. Again, you can mix it in with milkshakes to make a milkshake that's not probably the healthiest thing in the world, at least a little bit healthier, and you can be hitting your protein goals. So there's a lot of differences in between, or yeah, there's a decent amount of differences between protein powder. Now, I'm not going to break into all of that today, because that would probably take a while to describe the different kinds and the importance of each of them. And I'd probably need to bust out a whiteboard with some charts and stuff to help explain it a little bit better. All right. So we're not going to talk about that, but it is a great option to help make like a health sweet food alternative when it comes to icing. Sweeten your yogurts. Even, if you're weird and want to make some kind of toast concoction or bread concoction, but the possibilities are many, and it just takes you to do a little bit of experimentation, messing around, and you can find lots of great options to do with both the powdered peanut butter and the protein powder. Now, I will say the protein powder, it can be a little upsetting on some people's stomachs. I know that because it's a milk protein, that it can be a little hard on those people, especially if you are a little lactose intolerant. And it's just very heavy by itself. So a protein shake can be a little tough for some people to swallow down, can create some gas, bloating like feeling. So if that's the case, you may need a different protein powder option, or just mix it in with other things, smaller amounts, things like that, to help work it into your diet if you really want to try that. So moving on. These are kind of this is good for fasting. I use a lot. It'll help kind of give you that sweet fix, especially if you're a big soda or juice person. But if you would like to do or try intermittent fasting, then these Mios, or like almost any water flavor enhancer, are great, because they add a nice flavor to your drink, no calories to it, So at least you can still keep in that fasted state. And yes, people argue, well, it raises your, um, because of probably some kind of sugar in there, you do have some kind of insulin spike or reaction. And yes, while that can be true, I've never had any negative effects with it, like causing a sugar dive or anything to that nature. But I also am very used to the long terms of fasting, so it may affect each person differently. But I don't get any issues with it, and I still think it will keep you in that fasted state, even if it knocks you out for a little bit. It the amount that you may be knocked out, I think, would be much less. Leave me a comment. I'll try and explain it better, but these are great to juice and soda. If you're trying to kick that bad habit, these things are awesome at doing it. Also, for those people who are of drinking age, this is another very healthy alternative. You can add it to water and then honestly put vodka in there. I know it sounds kind of gross, but it makes like a very low calorie, low carb mixy as well. I've used this on keto in the past. So that is another good option you can use. Of course, you can have coffee, tea. Those are other good options to kind of help get rid of that growling stomach, but keep you going through your fast if you're really trying to hit a goal time or eating window, whatever that may be. So next we'll do these. Actually pick these up because we're doing taco salad for meal prep this week. So these are extreme wellness, high fiber. This is another good healthy alternative. There's 15 carbs and 11 of it's fiber, and it's got 5 grams of protein, and each tortilla is only 50 calories. I don't know how the math on that actually works. I don't think that adds up properly, but regardless, it's a much healthier option. And they do have different kinds, I believe, but something to switch over to when you want to use a tortilla, whether it's quesadillas, tostadas. Dad, I'm looking at you. Wraps, anything like that. That's a much healthier option. You're gonna walk away leaving much more full from the wrap itself, and if you stuff some meat in there, you've got your fiber and you've got a lot of protein in there. And so then you've got a lot more playroom, which means you might be able to enjoy a bowl of ice cream or something, or you can be really strict and not. And if you're really trying to cut back calories, that's a great option to keep the calorie count still very low, but hit all of those macro goals you need in a day. All right. Now, let's do this right next to me. This, well, probably not the healthiest option because you can use like spray stuff instead of coconut oil. I like using coconut oil for a lot of things, especially when it's cooking. I think that it is one healthier than canola oil or vegetable oil because they're all very bad for you. If there's one thing you should walk away from is that you shouldn't use that in your kitchen unless you absolutely have to. And I've never been in a situation so far where I had to absolutely use it, but I've also never tried deep frying anything. So that may be the one caveat, but deep frying's not very good for you in the first place. So we're not even going to talk about it. But coconut oil, it's good for your skin, it's good for your hair, it's good for your brain, it's really good for you. Yes, it's very high in saturated fats, so it's not, in terms of calories, it's not great. But if you are using canola and vegetable oil, I would recommend, taking a look at this. You get a big tub of this from, I think I got it from Costco. It's not that expensive. It'll last me forever. And if you're a beauty freak, it's really good for your skin and hair and nails and lots of other stuff. I know girls who like just wash their hair with coconut oil. It sounds disgusting, but their hair looks really good, so maybe it works. I don't know. But also, if you're a keto person or thinking about doing the keto diet, this is going to be a lifeline. You almost have to have this in your house. I would never go doing keto again without coconut oil. It's almost essential. Bulletproof coffees are amazing. It smells like a tropical beach if you cook with it. You get kind of that coconut vibe, and so it does remind you of a nice beach. I know my mom, she used to love when I cooked with this in the house. She doesn't actually like coconut oil, but she loved the aroma it gave in the house when I cooked with coconut oil. So there's that upside. Personally, I don't see much of a flavor difference. I mean, there's some, but it's not that much, and I prefer it more, I guess. So that's a good healthy fat alternative. You could, in theory, make dressings with it, but if you wouldn't be able, it'd have to be like a vinaigrette because it couldn't go in the fridge. It'd have to be actually somewhere warm so that the coconut oil is liquid. As you can probably see right now, the top part is liquid, the bottom's still hard. If it's warm enough, the whole thing will be liquid. But you could, if you can keep it at a warm enough temperature, then that liquid will actually, you can make a vinaigrette out of it. So moving on. This is another healthier option to regular noodles. I found these. I think they sell them at Publix too, but I found this at Costco. And these are chickpea noodles. Honestly, I prefer these over pretty much every noodle I've had so far. This might be a little bit, how do I put this? It's not the healthiest noodle option. I will give a few examples in a second, but it is a healthier option if you're really hell-bent on keeping noodles in your diet that aren't zoodles or shirataki noodles, something like that. So these are actually, I like them a lot. I think it's more of an earthy flavor. It's got a lot more flavor than your average noodle. It's healthier for you. It's got a lot more protein in there. So if you're trying to gain weight and need to get some of those protein goals, this is a great one to have in your arsenal. But I think it just tastes overall better. I probably won't go back to regular noodles as long as I can get this. So this is a much healthier, flavorful alternative. All of these, obviously, I bought with my own money. I wasn't like given any of these items, so just I don't know. There's a phrase that I'm supposed to use, but anyway, whatever. We're gonna keep moving on because I'm blanking on it, and I've got a lot more to share. So next one, another healthy fat alternative, extra virgin olive oil. I'm sure many of you already know that. It's got much higher levels of monounsaturated fat, which is like the kind of good kind of fat, and it is easy to acquire. It's much better than canola and vegetable oil. It's pretty much always in liquid form, so you can make dressings and things out of it. I do that all the time, but it's a great cooking alternative as well. And it overall is just going to be a much healthier option for you. Again, one of the biggest goals of today will be getting people off of oil and finding one of these options that could work, at least for some situations. Again, there might be some situations where you just have to have vegetable or canola oil, but I haven't seen it. I haven't had it thus far. Anyway, one more we got down here. This is an energy drink. This is Quake, but you know, I mean, even some of the monsters, if you have to have energy drinks, you need to pick me up or you don't have time, to or don't like coffee. I get that. I wasn't a coffee guy for the longest time, and now I just tolerate it as a vector for caffeine. But so drinks are a viable option. It's just which one you pick. I like this one because I can pick it up on my way to work or on my way home from work if I'm going to the gym. Usually buy one, get one. And it's got BCAAs, creatine, but some of these things that I at least think are healthy for you, some of them are a marketing gimmick. The one thing I have a problem with is that most of them don't tell you how much creatine they have in here, which I just wish they would, because it'd be good knowledge to know if you're hitting your daily goal with just this can or if I need to get more. But anyway, there's plenty of other options that are that you can use instead of this. There's even natural ones that I had one the other day that uses natural ingredients, and it still worked very well. So that's another way that you can kind of keep that fast going, is little sips of this whenever you're feeling hungry. That will help keep that fast going into a deeper state or for a longer period of time, which can definitely help with those weight loss goals, which I don't think I'm going to talk about today. It's just a pretty in-depth topic. There's a lot of people who talk about it, and I think it would need its own episode to kind of do it justice. So maybe next week or the week after, we can go in depth into the kind of into the weeds, if you will, with intermittent fasting and the pros and cons of it. I don't really think there's cons, but there's pros for sure. But I probably need to refresh my memory on some of the benefits, because there are just so many of them that I would like to bring to the table, so that you all know that there's, a lot more that can be had from intermittent. I believe it's the natural way, if you will, in how humans are biologically structured. So I got a few more items, but they had to stay in the fridge because I didn't want them to start going bad or anything like that. So let me go grab them very quickly, and you all can stare at the geraniums and stuff. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, about that. So, we'll just bust on through all of these, and then I'll talk about some items that I don't have on hand, but I do use very frequently. So, almond milk. There's cashew milk. There's coconut milk. There's plenty of other options, but I can buy this in bulk at Costco. Obviously, I get the unsweetened version because I can just add some protein powder or peanut butter or a little bit of sweetener or something to help increase, to help add. It's definitely runnier if you know the process, that it's basically water that's been filtered into it, but that's the basics of it. losing the signal here, so we might have some rain in a second. But I'm just going to keep on going through because obviously I want these back in the fridge. So I apologize if you guys are missing some of this content and it's jumping around a little bit. But almond milk, much healthier alternative. There's nothing wrong with real milk, but there's plenty of people out there who are lactose intolerant and probably don't realize it. And so this is actually a very good alternative to have. It's much lower calories. It's also a little bit lower in protein, but it's a lot lower in almost everything. So it's not, I would just make that switch over. I made it years ago, and every once in a while, yeah, I'll have a glass of milk or something. In my house, it's pretty much always almond milk. Anyway, next, I actually picked this up recently just because I wanted to try it out. This is this Skinny Girls sugar-free preserves. And no, it's not the healthiest option. Obviously, it's got a bunch of fake stuff in here. So if you're trying to go natural, there's plenty of spreads out there that are just jam that's been mashed and has no sugar or anything added to it. But I really just grabbed these to try them out. They're, I guess, a pretty healthy option. I mean, it's 1 carb per tablespoon, so it's much healthier than like a jam or something. It's actually got a lot of fiber, which I assume will be like chicory root or something like that. Anyway, so you spread that will help keep those calories down. Again, if you're a big peanut butter and jelly sandwich person, this, hold on, this in total will probably be like 230 calories, maybe, probably even less. But if you were to do it with regular peanut butter and jelly, you're probably looking at 400 to 500 calories, depending on how much peanut butter you're using. So pretty big difference, if you ask me. And I know it's not all a calories game. It's a macros game. You'd still probably have very high fat, very high carbs, very little protein, as instead of this option where you have very low fat, higher carbs, or a little bit higher carbs, lots of fiber, lots of protein. So that's a win in my book. All right, but moving on. This is avocado oil mayo. Now, one, I like this better. It tastes better. I don't like Miracle Whip. It's gross. So I like this much better. I picked this up at Costco here for you. That's for sure. And it does actually use avocado. I don't actually even see any canola or vegetable oil in there at all, which can be very hard to find. Chosen Foods mayo, avocado oil mayo. So this is a much healthier mayo option if you're one of those mayo people. I'm not. This was while I was on keto. It's actually probably bad by now or close to it because I use it so rarely. Anyway, if there's one item you walk away so far, I am not sponsored by Kerrygold. I wish they would sponsor me. But this is the best butter there is. It's grass-fed butter, so it's healthier for you. It looks like a real butter should, like it's got a nice golden color to it, and it just tastes better. The flavor is so much better on this butter, and you wouldn't believe it, but if there's one thing that you get out of this video is that you should try Kerrygold butter because it'll probably change your life. And healthier for you than your regular butter or, God forbid, margarine, which is just canola and vegetable oil. If you're doing that, try this. I know it's going to be a little more expensive, but again, I buy this in bulk at Costco. It lasts me a super long time, and it will make food so much better. And that's kind of a key here is you got to make food taste great so that you're excited to eat what probably would not be your first choice in food. And then last but certainly not least, Greek yogurt. Obviously, it's huge in getting your protein daily goals in there. But not only that, it makes a great sour cream replacement. If you haven't tried it before, I say give it a shot, even if it's a little cup of this. It's so much healthier than sour cream, and I don't think it tastes all that much different. So I plan on using this as sour cream for my weekly meal prep. No, obviously it doesn't have the same consistency, and flavor isn't spot on, but it's pretty daggone close. And if you've had tzatziki sauce, and in my eyes, that tastes very similar to sour cream. Um, and that's made with Greek yogurt. So, you do the math there. I think this makes a great interchangeable option instead of sour cream for whatever you may want to use that for. Now, a few items I don't have here, but I would like to bring up. One, I mentioned earlier, zoodles. That's usually zucchini or squash noodles. You can get one of those little spiralizer things, or you can buy them pre-made right now. I think they even sell them in frozen bags at like Aldi and Costco at this point. They're becoming so common. So that's a very good noodle alternative. Obviously, lots of nutrients in there, hot, healthy fiber, low in almost everything else. But it is a good option. The only reason I'm not crazy about it is, one, it can be a little watery, and two, it does not keep very well. Maybe 1 to 2 days in the fridge, but after that point it gets very mushy. It doesn't reheat very well. It starts to get very almost paste or like mashed like. So it's really only good for that meal. And when I'm doing meal prep, that's not going to work for me. That's why I like the Bonza noodles, and they taste better too. And then there is shirataki noodles. They also make it with shirataki rice. It comes from the mushroom, so it's almost got nothing but fiber in it. It's also got literally no flavor, and it's got a little bit of a weird texture. Some people may not love that texture in terms of a noodle. I think it could make a very good like udon or lo mein noodle, but in some cases you don't want a noodle that feels like that. If you've tried it, you know what I mean. If you haven't, then I would say try it in lo mein or udon type noodle before you try and go with like a spaghetti sauce with it, because that might turn you off from it. So, I have those every now and again, but they can be a little more expensive and you don't get as much bang for your buck. So that's why, again, I end up getting the Bonzas and things, because I can kind of work those calories in. And then if I have to omit things or, go a little bit healthier on the meat option or, um, dessert option, whatever that may be, then I can easily adjust for it. So that's another great one. Riced cauliflower is a huge one. You can use it to make pizzas and so many other things if you just like bake it and dry it out and squish out the moisture and things. It's a bit of a process to make pizza with it, but some people may say it's worth it. It definitely is a lot healthier, but I like to use it as just a white rice substitute. If I'm trying to cut calories, it makes a great white rice substitute, especially in like Oriental dishes with stir fries and things. It's great because it's got lots of fiber, you get lots of micronutrients, you're not adding all of those carbs and calories, and it'll make it much easier to hit your macro goals in the day. Plus, I think it honestly gives a little bit of it's almost a little sweet in a way. At least I feel that way, and so I think it works well with the Oriental dish, whatever you may be using it for. But you can also use it. I've used it as like a rice for like taco salad or like burritos, things like that. No, it doesn't have like the long grain consistency. It's mostly like a pellet almost, but it is much healthier. And I think it's a really good option that, doesn't really, I'm not adverse to having, if that makes sense. Some of these items are like, yeah, I would rather have the regular version, like maybe actual jam, but um that one I don't mind so much. I don't really mind giving up white rice for cauliflower rice. I rarely have white rice or any kind of rice other than cauliflower rice at this point, because I don't, the flavor difference to me isn't that much. But now they have it. I think they do broccoli rice, which, I don't think I've tried yet, but I could definitely think of some options to throw it in there. Or if you're not a big person on big chunks of broccoli, maybe a stir fry with cauliflower rice and broccoli rice will get all those nutrients and things from the broccoli, and you don't have those big chunks of broccoli in your stir fry. Just something to consider. Again, you're going to have to get pretty creative in the kitchen. Start thinking outside of the box is going to be a big goal in helping drop those macros and things. If you are trying to lose weight, first figure out where your problem lies. And then I've supplied you hopefully with some better options that you can go and use in your arsenal, whether it's just drop calories in all macros, or if you're way too high in fat, you need to dial the fat back. Definitely like a powdered peanut butter option if you really love peanut butter and things like that. But otherwise, once you figure out where your deficit or your surplus, I guess, lies, whether it be fat or too high in carbs, you can easily start to research different alternatives. Hopefully, I've given a few of you or a few options here today, but there's tons and tons and tons of options out there. For people who really like ice cream, there is an option to use this ice cream like consistency, but you probably going to have to refrigerate it or freeze it for a little while to prep it in advance. But there's also like nice cream and a bunch of other stuff. So once you figure out where your surplus is, do some more research. Hopefully, I've given you a starting point with some ideas to think out of the box here today. And then with some further research, you can really start to expand on some crazy out of the box ideas that will help you be successful in either your weight loss or weight gain goals, whatever. I need to get some of these things back in the fridge before my butter starts. Should be ready this evening. Is my tour in this coming week is my meal prep, or next meal prep. That's not your problem. As for next week's live stream, I think we'll start stepping in towards we might do intermittent fasting actually. Now that I think about it, that may be a good video to do next week, but no guarantees. So you'll just have to follow along. I plan on putting out the live stream again next Saturday, maybe 10 o'clock. I might bump it back to 9, just because 10's, if I don't get my day started early enough, then it kind of throws my day into some kinks where now I've got water changes, meal prep, and the gym all the second half of my day. So it might move back to 9, but I will notification and let you know when or if that's going to happen before it does. It's formative. You might walk away or go, if you're grocery shopping afternoon, decide to pick up some of these options to give it a go. I would definitely recommend some Greek yogurt if you're doing something with sour cream. Definitely Kerrygold's, just get some. It'll change your life. So there's that. and maybe some like powdered peanut butter. I don't know, but hopefully you found something here that you might be willing to try just to help be a little bit healthier if you think that you're not being very healthy because you've been stuck inside for I think it's like 5 months at this point. Goodness gracious, people. But anyway, so if you found this video informative or educational or entertaining in some facet, then a thumbs up will always be appreciated. If you are looking forward to more content like this or at-home workouts or even aquarium talk, then consider subscribing to the page because there will still always be lots more of that. You know, we flip and flop between aquariums and exercise and nutrition, but I'm always happy to answer any questions, comments, concerns that anyone has. And on that note, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you all. Hopefully you all could hear this today because my mic is now below me, so hopefully that works out. No one said anything, so I'm going to hopefully assume that it is all right. And I think that's about all I got. So that should end this week's live stream, and you all have a happy rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.